Hi there folks, welcome back to my channel, and for this video, this is actually attempt number 2 at going to visit Kelvingrove Museum and Art Gallery, which is in Glasgow. It's in the West End of the city. It's overlooked by the University of Glasgow, and I tried to go and visit it yesterday because I was thinking, it was a grotty, horrible, wet day. And it's like, yeah, no one's going to be out visiting Glasgow, everybody's going to be at home. And I thought, well, I'll try and drive in, and because there is parking there at the museum itself. Got there, it was absolutely hoaching. The car park was full. It was just really busy. So I thought I'd try again today, but today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'll get the train in to Glasgow, then I'll get the underground from Buchanan Street up to Kelvin Hall. I had to think there because there's Kelvin Hall and there's Kelvin Bridge. Kelvin Hall is the one that's closest to the Kelvingrove Museum. So yeah, hopefully this will be a better attempt, and I'll get to show you around the museum and let you see what it's like, what you can find there and what you can see, because again, it is one of the really popular museums in Glasgow, one of the really popular museums in Scotland, but it's definitely worth a visit. And it is on the city sightseeing tour bus route, so you can be on that, jump off, go see the Kelvingrove and get back on the next tour bus. So it is probably fairly easy to get to, because there's also a lot of normal everyday buses that go by as well. But I should really be heading off because it's the time's marching on. But before I do head off, if you're enjoying my channel, if you're enjoying my videos, if you can click on the subscribe button, click on that notification bell, leave some likes, leave some comments, it's always really appreciated. And if you'd like to support the channel further, I will post a link to the channel's coffee.com page and the channel's TikTok account in the description bar below and in the pinned comment in the comments section. So I'll stop my rambling now and I'll head off and get my train. Well, that's me at Kelvingrove Museum, and that there's a statue of St Mungo, or St Kentigern, who is Glasgow's patron saint, and probably one of the most iconic statues in Scotland, or in Glasgow anyway. And he's looking up towards the University of Glasgow. Down here on the lower level they have space for temporary exhibitions. They've got one on about John Byrne at the moment. They've also got shops if you want to treat yourself to something, and there's just a really nice little cafe down there as well if you want to have something to eat. Yeah, I had to tie my hair back because it's pouring down outside. I realised I came in just at the right time. In about 20 minutes there's going to be an organ recital. I think it's going to be through in here. Yeah, there's folk waiting, so I will definitely try and catch that and let you all hear the organ. I'll try and have a wee nosy around first. Yeah, that's the organ there. And this is one of the main halls of the museum itself. So this is one of the main halls. There's another hall through that way, ours through that way. This is the one that you come into when you come into one of the main entrances. And this is one of our main halls. It's got probably one of the more famous exhibitions that they have in Kelvingrove, which is the floating faces. You probably would get a better view of them from up on one of the galleries, one of the ones up there. So I probably will have another wee look at them when I get up the stairs and get a closer look. And one of the really good things about Kelvingrove is that as a museum it is free entry, so there is no fee to come and visit the museum at all. There's a wee Highland coo calf.
Someone is playing special piano for the boyfriend.
And in this hall as well, we've got a Spitfire, which they've got hanging from the ceiling, which I will get a better view of again from up the stairs. And there is an entire gallery dedicated to the history of Glasgow. So, looking at it from its founding right up until present day. That's stunning. So there are a lot of these information boards dotted all around the museum itself. So there's always plenty of information to tell you what you're looking at and what that gallery's specifically looking at. And this is some of the stonework that was excavated from Glasgow Cathedral, which is now on display here in Kelvingrove. And you can see that one there is top of a cross stone. I think that's supposed to be a pestle and mortar. And I think it's saying on the wee sign here, well, that would be the pestle and that would be the mortar. There, right there. And that would have been used for preparing the incense for services. But what I really love is these bits here. This stone and that stone there actually show some of the paintwork that had been used in the cathedral itself, which does show how brightly painted and brightly coloured Glasgow Cathedral would have been, which very much is in contrast to how it is now. They do have an ancient Egypt display. So they've got things like this statue of Sekhmet, who's a lioness-headed goddess. And she's often associated with war and hot desert winds. And yeah, there are mummies and sarcophagi. And some carved stone reliefs as well. We've got some more over here as well. Okay, I don't know hieroglyphics, but I know that a cartouche, which is that oval shape with the line at the bottom, is a name, and if it's a double cartouche, it's the name of a pharaoh. That's about as much of the hieroglyphics that I know. And so you have some of the archaeology from prehistoric Scotland. So like with all these different lithic tools. And some bits of pottery. That's an example of some Kippur ring marks, which I've also seen some in situ. We do have some here preserved in the museum itself. So we've got examples of some harpoons, some of the food people used to eat. And this is the remains of a dugout canoe that they have on display. And also they've got a lot of low light in this gallery because a lot of the things they've got on display are very fragile, and I want to try and preserve them as well as they can and reduce what chance there is of damaging them. Yeah, the organs recital's still going. That's probably the best view that you'll get of the Spitfire. Yeah, I tried to go see Salvador Dali's St John of the Cross, which is usually the house behind me, but it's actually on loan just now. I'm not too sure what it's on loan to, but usually it is housed here in Kelvingrove Museum. So if you are in the area and you come along, definitely try and see if you can come along and see it. And if it is here, definitely worth it. Definitely worth the visit. And these are the floating heads that I pointed out earlier on. And they do move about a wee bit, so you will get to see them from different angles. And most of them have all got different expressions on their faces. And it is one of those kind of installations in the museum that is quite iconic, but kind of creepy at the same time. And there is an entire gallery dedicated to the representation of Scottish identity through art. And this here is probably one of Scotland's most famous paintings. It's called The Last of the Clans. And you can just feel the hopelessness of the people featured in it, because it's actually dealing with Highland clearances, which when a lot of the Highlanders were cleared off their land to make way for things like sheep, and a lot of them ended up immigrating. And some of the examples of Scottish landscape painting. And this here is a bust of Donald Dewar, who was Scotland's first ever First Minister. And there's a statue of him at the top of Buchanan Street, just at the junction with Sauchiehall Street. And this here is another iconic Scottish painting. It depicts the moments before Mary Queen of Scots' execution, which took place there in England. And obviously you can see Mary Stuart there in a very regal pose. So if you are visiting Kelvingrove for the first time, remember it is something of a warren. It's one of those places that you probably will have to come back to on a few different occasions, because very likely there will be something you will have missed on previous visits. And there's always a lot of different galleries that are hidden in different areas and different spots, so it's always kind of good to come back and explore. And that's why it's probably one of Scotland's most popular museums and art galleries. So yeah, I'm going to keep wandering for another wee while and see what else I can show you. So if you really like your Scottish art, we have a small little gallery dedicated to the Scottish colourists. You're coming through the gallery for French art, you'll find the way in from there. And it's probably one of the most famous Scottish colourist paintings ever, A Lady in Black. I remember having to look at that when I was at high school doing art for Myers. And again, if you enjoy the work of Charles Rennie MacIntosh and the Glasgow Boys, we do have an exhibition of his work and exhibitions of the Glasgow style here in Kelvingrove. Loving those windows there. Very much an epitome of the style. And some examples of the Glasgow style jewellery. And at the back, they're saying that's a cup with a lid with a presentation box. What they call a presentation box almost looks like a reliquary, a bit like what they used to have in the medieval period for housing relics. And again, you have to remember with Charles Rennie MacIntosh, he was an architect. His wife, Margaret MacDonald, is a designer. So a lot of these are the classes of Glasgow style, not necessarily just the work of Charles Rennie MacIntosh. They do have a really nice gift shop. Well, that's me finished my little visit to the Kelvingrove Art Gallery Museum. Definitely somewhere that if you are in Glasgow and you're like maybe it's a kind of wet day, or it's even any day you're in Glasgow, it's definitely worth a visit and go for an explore and see what they have. And I was saying earlier on as well that it's one of those places that you could easily spend a few visits in the museum itself and still be discovering things within a museum. So definitely somewhere to come visit and explore, somewhere that is definitely a must-see in Glasgow. So hopefully you will have enjoyed this video, hopefully you will be intrigued by the museum, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.